Jalen Rager's gone, folks. Welcome to the All About the Birds weekly report here on the AAT Sports Network. I am Chip at Chip for the Birds, joined by Johnny U at Johnny U9322. And in case y'all haven't heard, Jalen Rager is gone.
He is gone. It's gone. It's official. They made the trade. We're going to talk about a couple trades. A lot of movement with the Eagles roster. There's a lot of, the 53-man roster practice squad. There's a lot of stuff. Plus, we also have our predictions. So at the end of the show, we will have our predictions. And Mike is back joining us. But no, it was. I think we can start off with the Jalen Rager stuff, but we're going to switch it quickly because I want to get to the other trade acquisition that Harry Roseman made that I think is, to me, it fills the need that a lot of people have been asking. Unless you want to start there, we can start there because –
Listen, let's just talk about the Jalen Rager thing right now because I am overjoyed. I am ecstatic. I am thrilled. I am jubilant. I am –
He's trying to find every word for happy that he can –
Listen, I can catch more adjectives than Jalen Rager can catch footballs. So I'm so – and the sweet Howie Roseman, let me tell you, he's a whole asshole. Like not even like a little – he is an entire asshole because not only did he trade J-Jaw to the team that had DK Metcalf on it for them to forever be linked, and then J-Jaw gets cut. He trades
now, so he's still there.
He trades Jalen Rager to the team that Justin Jefferson is on for them to continually be linked. He is an entire asshole, and I am here for it.
Don't forget. Hi, everyone. Sorry I was late. I had to restart my computer.
It's cool. You missed my dance.
Don't forget, the Vikings also laughed at us when we selected Jalen Rager, and now
they didn't laugh at us because we selected Jalen Rager. They laughed at us because we didn't select Justin Jefferson.
However you want to cut it. They laughed, and now they're stuck with them. So, bye.
All right, let's talk about the return haul on him. Because there was as the cut deadline was coming up, they're saying, oh, his market is heating up and things are going great. They ended up getting a conditional 4th and a 7th round for him for a former first round pick. How do you feel about the haul?
Well, it's a conditional 4th that'll turn into a 5th because I don't think he's going to reach.
Because he will not produce stats, yeah.
But it's a 5th and a 7th, so a 7th this year and a 5th next year, I believe. It's more than what the Cowboys got for Amari Cooper.
That's a fantastic point. It's true. I'm okay with it because it's either that or he's going to clog a roster spot. So now maybe they'll re-sign like Deion Kane or something like that, which I would love because Deion Kane, he outplayed Jalen Rager in the preseason. He looked good. The fact of the matter is he doesn't have it or he doesn't have it here. And I'm going to be honest with you. I hope he goes to Minnesota and does well. But it's like I say in fantasy football, if I miss out on a guy and he does well somewhere else, but I don't overpay or whatever, I'm completely fine with that. So if we miss out on Jalen Rager, we're fine. You need a new start. We need a better wide receiver.
And that's what I think it is that we've been saying this for a couple months now. He was not ever going to be successful here. He just wasn't because the pressure was too much for him to understand and handle and deal with. And every single time he stepped on the football field, if he wasn't producing at better than Justin Jefferson's statistics, which he's not, that's above his ceiling, then we were not going to appreciate him here. And as Justin Jefferson is setting these astronomical numbers, it makes this a little more difficult for Rager. One of the things I find most comical is the narrative that the Vikings are trying to put out there, which is, well, they said they needed a punt returner. Jalen Rager is a terrible punt returner.
He's the Reno Mahe of current punt returners.
He is.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Deion Kane as the replacement. I don't know if they're going to go that route because they do have to fill one more wide receiver spot. But I think that they are going to use that kind of logic and either bring up, Britton Covey, bring up the track kid. What's the track kid's name?
Devin Allen.
Devin Allen. One of those guys to be the return man.
Because I think it'll be Covey.
I think it'll be Covey too. I think he's got more on tape because think about it. You have, Brown, Smith, Watkins, Pascal, and then you can put that fifth receiver somewhere. But mainly priority is to put them as a punt returner because this year you cannot have Boston Scott and you cannot have Kenny Gainwell returning kicks. You do not have the depth at running back.
It's a shame too. I just feel like Boston Scott would be so freaking good at it.
I agree with you there.
You hate to have a guy on your roster who's only going to help for returns and not really help your offense that much.
I mean, it worked out pretty well for a certain gentleman from the Bears. Devin Hester.
Yeah, that's true. But it didn't work out for Jeremy Bloom. So it's just
I loved Jeremy Bloom. I couldn't even help it. Yeah, Javier, the Aguilar syndrome. And everyone's kind of jumping on that, saying the fact of, oh, well, he's going to ball out just like Aguilar. And I think, Mike, your point is interesting. Okay, good if he does.
Listen,
look, that's fine. Thank you for that one catch of 55 yards that you had, and then nothing since then.
Yeah. You can't even
read the ball off the punter's foot. Yeah, absolutely.
Somewhat of something his first couple of years before 2017, where he had a really good season. 2018, he had a really good season, and then 2019 kind of fell, back off a little bit. But I think that's a little bit. I think the Aguilar syndrome type of thing. Aguilar was way, way better than Rager. Rager hasn't showed you much of anything. And it sucks because his whole draft process leading up to it. You look at his highlights, like with TCU, and you look at his play from TCU, and he had a bad quarterback there and all that. Well, like all that stuff that was kind of said. But it just, if you take his pro film and his college film, it just seems like they're not lining up. Like it just doesn't. He doesn't look as explosive as everyone said that he was so explosive and everything. So I don't know. It's now Minnesota's problem. Eagles get some draft compensation, and it's pretty funny because they literally, the draft compensation that they got for Jalen Reagor makes up for the draft compensation they gave up for CJ Gardner-Johnson, which is another trade that Howie did, swooped in, was able to get a 24-year-old, does not turn 25 until December, safety, nickelback, kind of do a lot of things. For me, I kind of see him as like a younger version of what Malcolm Jenkins could do, basically all over the field. And there's some people out there, a lot of clickbait media guys talking about he only played nickel corner. But I think that's, no, he doesn't play safety. The thing about it is Marcus, I think they're going to play a lot of single high. I don't think they're going to do what they did last year because now Gannon has the personnel to be able to have a guy kind of roaming around doing, better things. Because CJ Gardner-Johnson or CD Deuce, whatever you want to call him, he can do so many things, come down the box, can cover a tight end, can, play the run, can do so many things for you that it leaves a guy like Marcus Epps to be able to play a little bit more towards the back end because he has more speed than what Rodney McLeod and or Anthony Harris had last year. So I think it sets up a lot for the Eagles, plus his attitude. And I know I love the way that CJ Gardner gets in, like Tom Brady got in his face. I don't know if you saw that clip when he had 2 interceptions on him last year. He'll get in the face, he'll trash talk, and it's just, he brings that edge, and I think Philadelphia fans are going to love that. The edginess, to me, that brings out the Philly.
We need that in the secondary because, Slay is like a trash talker. Bradbury's a real stoic, quiet guy, but we need that guy. We need some swagger on the defense, man. Like, to be honest, I have concerns about our defense yet, and I'm assuming we will get to that in a little bit. But I'm really happy with this. There's going to be a problem because they're going to have to pay this guy and Marcus Epps next year. I don't know what they're going to do there. I'm trusting Howie will figure out a way. So,
listen, I mean, when you look at who they picked up, when you look at the way that he is already embracing the Philadelphia lifestyle, his grandfather's an Eagles fan, and he's
pop.
His pop-up, right. And that's great. I apologize. His pop-up.
I had a pop-up too. Miss you, Pop.
And that's kind of the thing. Like you hear it all the time from Sirianni where you're trying to bring these guys in that are kind of the embodiment of what he envisions, the competitive nature, I've been watching Hard Knocks, and I appreciate Dan Campbell, even though he's the Lions head coach. I appreciate the grit that he's trying to bring into his organization. I think the competitiveness that Sirianni is bringing, Gardner-Johnson fits that perfectly. And Anthony Harris, he's still sitting on a practice squad. I mean, it's a definite upgrade. It is a definite upgrade. And from what I was hearing, I think they were $4 million apart. The Saints and Gardner. I'm sorry, my brain is Gardner Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
They're about $4 million apart, which is why. But it was very interesting that they just kind of, okay, fine, bye.
Well,
like the Saints aren't that set.
Well, the thing with the Saints are they signed Marcus May, they signed Tyrann Mathieu, they drafted Alante Taylor, they have PJ Williams, they have Marcus Lattimore, and then they have Paulson Adebo. So they have some DBs there. You know, it's a crowded room. They have a surplus, if you want to say that. But also they have two young defensive ends that they're going to have to sign. So it comes to a point where they had guys that they were going to have to sign and give money to, that this was a position where they were a strength that they were able to get compensation. But it's fine because he comes to us now. And it's funny because all the Saints fans are now showing clips of him in practice getting beat by Olave, which made an absolute circus catch on him. And it's just funny how tides have changed, and now they don't like the guy because now he's an Eagle.
Okay, well, let's not forget Chris Olave is a fantastic wide receiver from Ohio State, a place that pumps out absolute studs at wide receivers. As much as I hate to say it as a Penn State fan, Chris Olave, very, very highly regarded. You know, when we do scout for the fantasy community, we scout for how do they fit in the NFL first, and then we work that into our rankings accordingly. Myself and everyone else in the Dynasty Rewind was very high on Chris Olave, so take it with a grain of salt. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they're showing one time that he got beat. I'm sure there were other times that the rookie was getting locked down too. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. And it was a one-on-one on the outside. So it's the one-on-ones can go either way. We know how that goes in training camp. Yeah, so
exactly.
But I think all in all, you're looking at the moves, you're looking at what the Eagles did. A couple surprise cuts that I want to talk about. A couple surprise that I didn't think was going to see get let go. Now you look at the offensive line depth. One guy I thought would definitely make the roster was Jack Anderson.
Same. That's your
and dude. He wound up being claimed. They had two players that were claimed. The corner Josh Blackwell, which kind of surprised me. I can't think off the top of my head what team claimed him. And then Jack Anderson was claimed by the Giants, which means they kept Josh Sills, who was a rookie free agent, 6'5", 330-pound guard. That surprised me a little bit that I thought they were going to keep, Jack Anderson instead of Sills, but maybe Stoutland. I can't really go against Stoutland because he kind of knows what he's doing. But again, Davion Taylor was waived today. I thought he would have been part of the 53 cuts, but they waived him after they claimed Ian Book, the quarterback. But
Blackwell went to the Bears real quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Bears looked at the waiver wire and took like 10 players. I'm like, what are you doing?
The Bears
Alex Leatherwood, Armani Watts, Blackwell, Kingsley, Jonathan, Sterling, Weatherford, and tight end Trevin Wesco. And no team added more players via waivers. The Bears are busy, ladies and gentlemen.
They were busy. And, that, of course, that was the one that surprised me. The Andre Chachere surprised me because that would be a special teamer, but I think he's hurt, so they have him on the practice squad. Okay. Tay Gowan, he struggled the last preseason game, and he's been struggling a little bit. So he signed with the Vikings practice squad today. No one else really surprised me. That was the only other guy that surprised me. I did see that, Jaquiski Tart and Anthony Harris getting cut. Anthony Harris, again, rejoined the practice squad. But
yeah, but I think that Tart was always kind of a long shot to make the team.
I don't think he wasn't gripping the defense. So I think that's what struggles. When you're not getting the defensive terminology down, it's kind of a hard match to have you playing on the field. And he's not really I wouldn't say he's really a special teamer. I really don't.
He's not.
So unfortunately, maybe he'll probably lock on with someone. But all in all, they got a bunch of guys back on the practice squad. They haven't officially announced LaMichael Pirine. I know he was one that was mentioned as a signing, a big 6 foot, 212-pound running back.
Good.
You get it.
I will say this: He
Go ahead.
is
Mike knows all about LaMichael Pirine, so we got to let him talk a
he's a
little bit
Michael
about it.
Pirine fan here. And look, he went to the Jets when the Jets were a shit show still with Adam Gase there, so he never really got a fair shake. LaMichael Pirine, if you watch some of his Florida film, he actually stylistically is a lot like Miles Sanders, but a little bit bigger, a
Healthier?
little bit stronger. Well, here's the thing. So he was a little banged up his rookie year, and then by the time he got back, Adam Gase was like, you know what? We're gonna play Frank Gore instead. And last year, Michael Carter came in and was just like setting the world on fire. And then the
And they had
Jets
Tevin Coleman too, correct?
they had Tevin
Who
Coleman,
they did release as well. But,
Ty
yeah,
Johnson. They were playing blah blah blah.
Johnson.
So Pirine's got some talent. You know, a lot of people like Damian Pierce this year, a rookie from Florida. Michael Pirine's better. He's a better receiver too than Damian Pierce was out of Florida. So this is a guy. Look, if Miles Sanders, when Miles Sanders misses time, Pirine's a guy that could come in if he knows the system. You can schematically run the same type of plays with Michael Pirine that you run with Miles Sanders. And I think it's important that when you have backups, they fit your scheme, because the one thing I hate is the whole square peg round hole. I've said it before, like making Donovan McNabb run the West Coast offense was a sin towards McNabb's skill set. But this guy fits in schematically with what they're doing. He can play RPOs, he catches the ball out of the backfield. He's a powerful runner too. But I'll tell you what, he's got moves in the open field. I don't want to say he's Shady McCoy because he's not, but he makes guys miss. He's pretty elusive. So I like him.
You talked about the New York Jets. New York Jets had how many issues in 2020 on the offensive line? And even last year, we know about their struggles on the offensive line, trying to find
always
a select group of guys to be able to block. So
Yeah.
his rookie year 2020, 64 carries, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 catches, 63 yards. Last year, of course, only 8 carries for 31 yards. Didn't play very much, as you alluded to. The players that were in front of him, the guy they drafted, different scenarios, different circumstances. But again, looking at him behind this type of offensive line, if he gets almost being able to be like a Jordan Howard, because in my opinion, looking at the Eagles running backs, you have Miles Sanders. Okay, hopefully he stays healthy. But again, we know the situation the last couple of seasons. We know the story.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad.
Then you have Boston Scott. To me, I think Kenny Gainwell is going to be used more as a receiving back. And I know a lot of people, I know he was lining up with the wide receivers and stuff at practice and all that, maybe because he only had 4 or with a couple of the other guys. He only had a select few receivers. I could see him being used a lot in the passing game. And it suits him. He does very well with that. And I did like the way he ran the ball as well. But I think that big back, like you were saying, Mike, and I think Pirine, he helps them in the aspect of a guy who's 5'11", almost 6 foot, 212, 211 pounds, big type of bruising back, but still has a little bit of twitchiness to him.
And here's the thing too, if you want to make a legitimate run here, you are going to have to sign people, but you are going to have to save money somewhere.
Yep.
Let's say if it doesn't happen this year, next year, Jalen Hurts is still in his rookie contract. You could have a cheap starter at running back in LaMichael Pirine or some sort of committee there. So you're not spending a ton of money behind center and in the backfield because A.J. Brown's getting paid. You're going to have to lock up our new safety. Marcus Epps is going to be due for money. You're going to have to start replacing defensive ends too, because Brandon Graham's getting older. Derek Barnett sucks and is going into his season. So Fletcher Cox will be gone though, I'm assuming, after this year. So we need to save money somewhere. And I'm trusting he'll do something, but it's a cheap way to make a run, in my opinion.
It is. And now that the offseason is officially winding down, you have to look at a couple of things of, did this team have a successful offseason? So first off, as I mentioned a lot on the show, did this team get better from when the season ended to the start of this new year? It is an unquestionable yes. The names, the talent, the players that actually fit schemes, the ability to now cross-scheme different things. This team is significantly better. Now it's going to matter on the field. That's point one. Point two, you look at the rest of the NFC East. The rest of the NFC East is bad. Dallas is down, or not bad, but did not improve. The Giants are not a good team at all. The Commanders, while they may have gotten better at quarterback, maybe their best running back is not going to play this season. Yeah, they got a couple new receivers, but it's still whether or not the quarterback can execute, and their defense is not healthy. The Cowboys, they have one quarterback on the roster with a guy who does have injury career. Their star running back isn't the best running back on the roster. They got rid of receivers. They got rid of linemen. The Cowboys are looking at bringing in Jason Peters. I mean, that is the level of which the Cowboys are not as good as they were last year.
Chip, when you say Zeke is not the best running back on the roster, you're alluding to Rico Dowdle, right?
100%. 100%. Also Tony Pollard, but also yes.
I love Tony Pollard, by the way.
I know we had a conversation about him last night.
Rico Dowdle, that's a good old name we hit on this podcast that hopefully we never have to say again. By the way, South Carolina. But looking at the NFC East, Chip, I'm going to push it this way. What about the NFC? You're looking at the NFC. The 49ers, yes, they have a good defense, but they have Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo's the backup. You have questions there.
Yeah. I think that the 49ers, by the way, were very, very smart to not let Garoppolo go this year. Number one, nobody was taking him. Number two, you were just going to eat that salary. Number three, Trey Lance is not going to play this entire season. He's just not. And then what you're going to have probably right around week 7 is my prediction, is Jimmy Garoppolo come in, lead this team to the playoffs because the NFC West is not as strong as it was. And then you've got a controversy.
I don't know, man. The Rams and the Cardinals, the Cardinals are a little hit or miss, but like the Rams still got Stafford, although he has that elbow thing going on.
He was not allowed to throw this entire offseason.
That's
worrisome.
But the Bucks still got Brady. I mean, the Packers, if they can ever get out of their own way in the playoffs.
But I said the West. There is a very good chance. Sure. But there's a very good chance that the 49ers win the West, in which case Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the one that wins the West for them. Trey Lance does not win them the West.
But I want to put the two things that Mike said. I want to bring those two teams up.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I think Green Bay has a little bit of an off year. Look, you have Aaron Rodgers. I understand that. Again, it's basically a whole new crop of receivers. And yes, they maybe have some talent there, but some of them will be learning. You got the learning curve. Christian Watson's a rookie. Romeo Doubs is a rookie. Yeah, you have Alan Lazard, Sammy Watkins, Randall Cobb. Okay, but I think Minnesota is better than them in that division. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Here's the problem. Minnesota has a new coach. So
there's your issue there.
With the continuity, hey, sleeper candidate for the playoffs out of the NFC. What about the old Detroit Lions?
No.
We're going to know after week 1, but no.
Come on. You're saying you think the Vikings are better than the Packers, but look, you got a quarterback who's been to the Super Bowl. You want to talk about, we're talking about teams that did get better, the Eagles, teams that got worse, the Cowboys. The Lions got exponentially better over the season. I got them as like a dark horse playoff candidate right now. I think they finished second in the division, to be honest with you. And the lowly Bears finishing last.
Yeah.
The Bears are going to be in contention for the number 1 overall pick.
Dude, the Bears ownership is like, that franchise quarterback we got? Everyone's like, yeah, they're like, fuck him, dude. We're not going to give him any. He's getting the Carson Wentz 2020 treatment with that offensive line and those wide receivers. They hate this kid.
Between the Bears and the Seahawks, one of those two teams will have the number 1 overall pick next season.
I agree with you.
Let me look and see if I could find anyone else.
So when he takes a look, when Mike's looking at that, I want to also bring up the Bucks. I know the Bucks have Tom Brady, but again, their offensive line, especially their interior offensive line, is absolutely carnage right now because of players that retired and they lost to free agency and injuries. They're gonna struggle interior, and again, Tom Brady with pressure up the middle is not his strong suit. Yes, the tackles, the bookends, they're there, Tristan Wirfs and Donovan Smith. But their interior offensive line is going to – and they're one of the oldest teams in the league.
How dare you slight NFL Network's number 1 player of 2022, Tom Brady? How dare you slight the best player in football, Tom Brady, according to the NFL Network? He wasn't even the best player last year.
That list is like toilet paper. Full of shit.
Lane Johnson isn't one of the 100 greatest players in the NFL right now.
Yeah. But Mac Jones is? Stop.
Shut up. Stop it. I was being sarcastic, guys.
Because he's a quarterback. The quarterbacks always get the love, man. But yet Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't on that list. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Mac Jones.
Yeah.
That's right. People like to hate on Jimmy Garoppolo, but he did take.
I don't.
No,
he is a very good game manager.
I like Jimmy Garoppolo, to be honest with you. You put a good surrounding cast around him, and look, he got a team to a Super Bowl. I wish they would have won. Yeah. Everyone's like, you had to cheer for the Chiefs because Andy Reid. I'm like, cheer for him. He didn't give us a Super Bowl, so I'm cheering for San Francisco because I can. And I kind of like Kyle Shanahan. I like his offensive scheme.
So shifting over to the Eagles, we can talk a little bit about the 2022 season and some of our predictions that we got. Just looking at basically what we think the Eagles are going to be, what we're going to, some MVP, some most improved, rookie of the year, and then kind of we're going to finish it out with our, Eureka locks. We got to bring that back. To me, it's, looking at this season, and Chip said it well. You look at the offseason and what they did, and, going into making the 53-man roster and the way that they did it. And it was tough because there was a lot of players, just look at the undrafted players who made the roster. Reed Blankenship was one player.
Kid.
And
love that kid.
We talked about it. We're happy he made the list. Look at a player like Josh Jobe. Happy he made the list. Josh Sills, offensive lineman, was another one. They had a really good crop of undrafted players. Now, again, they didn't have that many draft picks, so they did throw some money at some of these undrafted guys. Unfortunately, players like Carson Strong, which I don't know if you happen to see, he posted a video of his practice film on Twitter and was saying that he still got it or something along the lines of that, a big long post about it.
The problem
I did not see that, but to be fair, nobody. If there is,
that's just a little weird in my opinion.
If there is film of him at practice
film on Twitter,
he got no looks. Like he didn't even get third team reps in training camp.
They said he was pretty bad.
I've been saying it for weeks.
Said that he was worse than Clayton Thorson in practice. That's how bad.
We'll never know because they didn't let him play in the game. That's the problem. You can't set all these records out of school and have absolutely nothing. You're trying Reed Sinnett out there. You have your backup quarterback starting the third preseason game. What the hell's wrong with you? It should have gone Reed Sinnett for the first half, Carson Strong for the second half. You gave the guy $300,000 and he threw 5 passes in the preseason.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
And on top of that, Reed Sinnett
sucks.
Didn't look good. That's why he's now on the practice squad, which is where he belongs. Let him develop. He's got a big arm. Cool. Maybe he turns into something. But again, this is another guy. I know we're the quarterback factor, and this kind of ties into the Ian Book thing. And at least Ian Book has some NFL playing experience. Maybe that's why I can live with Ian Book being the third string quarterback. I don't know if you guys saw, but Nate Sudfeld is still hanging around the league.
He's on the Lions.
Just so you know, the Lions, because David Blau wasn't good enough for them.
I love David Blau.
I have no issue with him. But again, when we look at a guy like Carson Strong, this was a guy who had a lot of hype. They paid him a lot of money, and they gave him no chance. So there is more to that story that we'll never know. And quite honestly, I don't necessarily care about because he was never going to be a contributing member of this roster. But he just wasn't very good.
So Mike wanted to say something about Ian Book. So here's your floor to, talk a little bit about it.
Ian, hi, it's Mike. First of all, I have to apologize for everything I said about you when I was scouting Chase Claypool. Like when I said if Chase Claypool had a competent quarterback, he would have put up good numbers at Notre Dame. But now that you're an Eagle, I had to reflect and reconnect with myself. So Ian Book, just so you know, Chip did mention he does have some starting experience in the NFL. He did start one game. He's 0-1, 12 of 20 for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. Still better than Reed Sinnett's career stat line in the regular season. What Ian Book does well, he could read the field pretty decently. Let's not forget, when he was starting this game for the Saints were pretty much in shambles at that point in the season. So imagine Coy Detmer starting for the Eagles.
You do not slander Coy Detmer on this network, sir.
I loved Coy Detmer.
Don't do it.
But every time he started for us, the team was just in shambles, and it was no fault.
Do not insult Coy Detmer on this
I like
network.
I like Coy Detmer. I like both Detmers. I actually like Coy a little bit better. But he's a little bit more mobile than what we had in Carson Strong and Reed Sinnett. So I think he fits in well with this team and with this system. Johnny had mentioned that Trace McSorley would be a better backup, better third string guy. And I agree with that too. There's always that possibility that he ends up here next year because I don't think Gardner Minshew is going to be back. They're not going to want to spend a lot of money on a backup quarterback. They're just not, unless they sign Nick Foles again, which would be interesting.
No, that shan't happen again.
Yeah, they wanted him to come back, I think, last year, right?
Really?
I think so, and he said no.
I mean, I don't blame him. At some point, you're just going to the well too many times. Javier, in answer to your question, yes, the Eagles kept Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew. And then because we claimed Ian Book off waivers, he has to go onto the active roster. So we have a third quarterback on the roster, and Reed Sinnett is on the practice squad. But Ian Book will every single week be inactive.
Jimmy Cooper is saying Trey Sermon. I believe Trey Sermon was claimed by the Jaguars. Let me get an update on that, okay?
How about this? I just saw something come through. The Alex Leatherwood thing, who owed a lot of money by the Raiders, had one team put in a claim for him, and it was the Bears.
Mm-hmm. So now that contract switches over to the Bears, who, in fact, has $100 million next year. So they got a lot of money. So that's okay. They can shoot their darts because they need all the help they can get on the offensive line, whatever that may be. But yeah, Trey Sermon, I liked him coming out of Ohio State, but I'm not sure. There was a lot of running backs that were cut, and that's why I don't think the Eagles were going to be in the market to trade for one, just because so many were going to get cut that they could be able to pick somebody up to be able to, look at the offensive line you're running behind. Because I kind of, before we get into our predictions, I want to bring this up because I thought about this, looking at all these running backs that are getting cut. And to me, it's like the Denver Broncos back in the day. Remember all the running backs?
Yeah.
To me, that's like the Eagles.
Right now, you just need somebody to be the lead back because with Miles Sanders on the shelf and kind of reserving a spot there, you cannot just have Miles Sanders and Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell. You have one full-size running back and two undersized running backs, and the full-size running back is constantly hurt. I think that Miles Sanders on paper is a great idea. I think that he could have been a great contributing member, and I hope that this season he gets healthy and can play. But right now, that's not in the cards. So you have to start looking elsewhere.
Sorry, I had a little bloody nose issue. I'm good now.
You all right?
Cool.
Yeah, all good now.
Yeah, I agree. Also, sorry, Jimmy, but Trey Sermon's not that good. I hate to be that guy. I'm just not. I was not a Trey Sermon guy at all. Wasn't a fan. I'm good.
Javier. For those of you listening to the audio version of our podcast, it says Howard will be back mid-season. LOL. I do feel, and I felt good about this last year before I, blew 3 jugulars trying to contain my anger. I do feel that this is the season where Jordan Howard will not be re-signed to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Thanks for everything you've done, though, Jordan Howard.
Absolutely. And last season, he really did prove me wrong. And again, if he were to be picked up because Miles Sanders can't stay healthy, I wouldn't necessarily complain because, again, still has low mileage, still can run the ball, decent. But I just think that, again, it's time for him to find another team if another team will so take him.
His middle name is Reginald, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Jordan Reginald Howard.
Nailed it.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
With that, Johnny, you ready to talk about your predictions?
Yes, we could talk about my predictions.
Here we go. Here's a graphic.
All right, so I have the Eagles going 11-6. I was thinking about changing it and putting 12-5, but since I had 11-6, I just kept that. This was before the CJ Gardner Johnson trade that I made this, so um, so be it. Eagles MVP, I have AJ Brown. I feel AJ Brown's going to have a T.O. like type of season. I think he's going to have a really great season for the Eagles. All the weapons that they have, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, the multitude of running backs, and I just think he's going to be able to flourish in the offense. So the rookie of the year, I have Nakobe Dean. I feel he's going to get a lot of more playing time as the season goes on. I think he's gonna flash. Let me say this: if Jason Kelsey was not here, I think it would have been Cam Jurgens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But since Cam Jurgens probably won't play, but very little, if any, this year, I'm gonna go with Nakobe Dean. My most improved, a guy that played well last year, is kind of ascending is Marcus Epps. I think Marcus Epps is going to have a really good season. Especially with this defense, the amount of playmakers they added, the amount of stud defenders that they have added to this roster, I think it's only going to help him and be able to, show his talents. So I'm going to go with him as one of the most improved. And then my lock of the year is, and this is to you, Chip, because I know you're skeptical of Mr. Goddard.
I am.
I think he's going to have 850, I was going to say over 850 yards and 10 touchdowns. So I think he's going to have a heck of a season. So again, now that implies, Goddard and AJ Brown having really good seasons. Only can tell you that I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a good season, which doesn't really have to say much because I've been on his train for a while now. Mike knows that. But that's what I have for the season. I think it's going to be a fun season. I think, a lot of TDs. But I think it's gonna be a great season offensively and defensively. Special teams, I don't know. So that's where I have.
Over there?
Everything's fine. Wife dropped something in the other room.
Ah,
Hope she's okay.
he's probably fine.
Man.
Interesting. Mikhail, go ahead.
All right, so up to me now. Sorry, I'm going off the list I gave you because my screen blacked out for some reason. Hey, look, it came back just in time. All right, so Johnny and I are both 11-6. I was thinking about changing it, but I hate to be that guy. Like, we got a new player, another win. So I'm going to stick with 11-6. If anyone wants to know the breakdown of how I picked that, I have it here in front of me. No, okay, great. Eagles MVP is going to be wide receiver AJ Brown. I just think he's going to be so critical to what this offense wants to do this year. The things that he could do, I just don't think we've had a wide receiver like this before, ever. I mean, he can take a 2-yard pass and just take it to the house. He makes everyone miss in the process, but he's so strong and physical at the catch point and all over the field. Rookie of the year, defensive tackle Jordan Davis. I was thinking about Nakobe Dean, Johnny, but I think there's going to be a lot more TJ Edwards on the field than Eagles fans want, but it's going to be fine because I hate to break it to everybody. TJ Edwards is a good linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the most improved is going to be Jalen Hurts because he has to be. He knows that this is the Jalen Hurts no excuse tour 2022. So, look, we're going to see, everyone's talking about his work ethic, his determination, and his drive. Hey, next Sunday, we get to see, is he the guy or is he not? And my Uleka lock of the year, I think the Eagles are going to win the NFC East. I don't think it's by a wide margin. I think Dallas is going to keep it close because they've had our number last couple of years. When it's mattered, by the way, someone did point out to me that Dallas swept the Eagles last year. I'd like to remind everyone that Dallas played their starters up against guys that I don't think are even on this roster, and some of them might not even be in the NFL anymore. So calm down, Cowboys. Okay?
They can't calm down.
I know. God, they're so weird.
Well, they can't calm down because their VCRs are still in the shop.
Yeah.
So they can watch their Super Bowl highlights.
And I miss VCRs, though.
Yeah, that was a good device.
going to Blockbuster with the
Yes.
family or Hollywood Video, wherever you went, picking stuff.
I'm excited. There's a new show on Netflix coming out called The Last Blockbuster.
Oh, the documentary, or they made?
No, it's a comedy show.
Did you see the documentary that
Documentary is
they made?
great.
No, but now I'm going to go find it.
Oh my god, it's fantastic.
It's very great.
Yeah, it's called. I think it's just called The Last Blockbuster. Yeah, it was amazing. It was great. It's funny that's on Netflix too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I heard, so before I put my stuff up there, Mike, I heard somewhere that, the Eagles can be successful without Jalen Hurts being successful. Do you want to take care of that myth right now for everybody?
I mean, you're going to go as far as your starting quarterback takes you.
Right. And did you pick Jalen Hurts as your most improved player out of necessity, or do you truly believe that? Because I know you're skeptical.
Well, look, and like I said, don't hate the man. There's some mechanical stuff that I want to see fixed up, and he has a chance to win me over. And if I'm wrong, I will not admit it, but I will just be wrong. But here's the
Sit
thing.
there in your wrongness and be wrong.
There's going to be some guys that, here's the thing. I'm looking at offensive players. When you add an A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith can only improve so much. Dallas Goedert can only improve so much. There's some guys on the offensive line that they're at their ceiling. Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata. I don't think these guys can play any better than what they're already going to.
Yeah.
And if Jack Stoll improves, is anyone going to notice or care? So, and Quez Watkins, I'm thinking across the board, the numbers aren't going to be really great for us fantasy football players, but we're going to be an extremely efficient and just really good, wide open offense. And it's not going to be like what, it's going to be pretty mixed, but still, we only go as far as Jalen takes us. It's that easy. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. So, but I mean, unless we're handing the ball off every play, which I don't think
we can, because we're out of running backs.
I don't think Nick Sirianni wants to run that type of offense. He did it out of necessity last year.
Right.
So
I think, and I'm thinking back to this specific episode that we did last year when I was a Debbie Downer. I didn't think Sirianni was the guy. I didn't think that this team was prepared to make a jump. And they beat the teams that they were supposed to beat. They stayed in games that they were supposed to stay in. They snuck into the playoffs because they added an extra playoff spot. And, bully for you. Good job. Y'all, Homer Chip is in the house. The Philadelphia Eagles will finish this season at 12-5. I think that they almost sweep the NFC East. They will split one with the Cowboys simply because it's the Cowboys. We'll split one. They'll probably win the first one and then Dallas drop in December like they normally do. So that's my prediction about that. The Eagles MVP will be Jalen Hurts. And I think when you have a team that is 12-5 and you are in contention for that, first, second seed, which is where the Eagles can probably be by the time all is said and done, I think Jalen Hurts is in the MVP conversation.
interesting.
The rookie of I told you I'm going straight homer here. But I truly believe that. The Eagles rookie of the year will be Nakobe Dean simply because the fact that he was available for us where he fell and was a gift. He fell and was an absolute gift, and he has shown exactly why he should have been a first-round pick. So at some point, he's going to make his way onto the field, and he is going to be dominant. Most improved will be Devonta Smith simply because A.J. Brown will allow Devonta Smith to be the most improved player. I thought that Devonta Smith had a nice rookie year. He didn't blow me away by any means. I thought he got bullied around a little bit due to the size. I think that he made catches when he should. He was dealing with the injuries a little bit. I think that Devonta Smith, the second year in this offense, and now having that safety net of A.J. Brown on the other side, that's season changing. That's game changing. And my Eureka locks of the year, because I couldn't pick one. Yeah, the Eagles are going to win the NFC East. There's no question in my mind at all. With the additions that we made, they will finish with a top 5 defense, which will result in Jonathan Gannon getting hired as a head coach somewhere next offseason.
Bye.
I like it. Fun predictions. There was something that came across I wanted to bring up because it's a little interesting. Jordan Schultz put out there that the Eagles tried to claim Kellen Mond. Of course, he was claimed by the Cleveland Browns. But interesting, they did want to get a third quarterback, and that's why they got booked. They're trying to, get that third quarterback, a younger type of developmental player.
For those of you who don't know, Kellen Mond went to Texas A&M, and he sucks. I'll tell you what, he has a strong arm, but he is wildly inaccurate, just weird throwing motion. The Vikings wasted it. So, the funny thing is, they laughed because we didn't take Justin Jefferson, but you drafted Kellen Mond in the 3rd round, dude. Like, I don't even want to hear it at all.
Well, everyone that was in that video, I believe, is no longer there. I think
that is true. And you know what the funny thing is? You can laugh at us all you want. We still won one in your house.
True story. And had to step over your corpse to get there.
That's the best part about it.
Yeah. Javier actually brings up a really good question here, and I do want to spend a couple minutes on this. Do we think that Hurts himself will run as much as he did last year?
No.
I don't think so. I still think he's going to have between around 500 yards rushing and maybe 5-6 touchdowns. But I don't think it's going to be as heavy as it was last year, just because of all the weapons that they have and the way that they want to, cater this offense to being able to, throw the ball a little bit and not have to rely so much on the run. Use the run as a complement and be able to change it up and switch it up, not as a focal point in the offense.
Yeah, and I think if they actually run the ball more, he will have to run the ball less himself because the offense will be less one-dimensional. We saw what it was like earlier in the season last year. Can't do that again.
So let me change the question a little bit then. With the injuries to Miles Sanders, with Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell, their strength not being really in the running game, more in the passing game, is Jalen Hurts, when the season is all said and done, the team's leading rusher?
No.
I still think it's going to be Miles Sanders.
I'm going to go here. I don't think it's going to be Miles Sanders. I think it's going to be Boston Scott.
Gross.
I think that's disgusting.
I think it's going to be LaMichael Pirine. That would, oh my God.
Of course.
The level of obnoxiousness that just unfriend me.
Don't worry, they already have, so they don't got to worry about that.
Even better. That's Christmas cards I had to send out this year, then.
Oh, but
I think it's going to be Sanders, though. Personally.
So, gonna bring up I do want to talk about. There's one more fan lot Phillies. All I gotta say is thank you, Howard, for. I'll give them. I don't know if 2017 feels because the offseason we didn't really feel like that. I think 20.
There's everything in season, you're right.
Off season feels,
yeah,
but
you know what? I just want to touch on that. The 2017 offseason, they were like, to me, they were just smart moves. Yeah. There was nothing really splashy. Like Alshon came in, Alshon on the downward slope. Torrey Smith came in, Chris Long, LeGarrette Blount. Then they traded for J.J. in the season. So they were smart moves, but it wasn't anything flashy like A.J. Brown on draft day. What the hell is this new safety's name? He has too many names. Chauncey
DJ Gardner Johnson.
Oh my God.
Just call him CD Deuce.
Okay. New safety came in that everyone's really excited about. Just going there. So some of this stuff is a lot more exciting than the 2017 offseason was to me.
Like I said, I'm going to liken it to the 2004. You get T.O., you get Javon Curse, Trotter comes back, Douglas comes back. I'm going to, you draft Sean Andrews. I'm going to give it to a little bit of that. That's kind of where I'm going to go with that. Just because, for me, you you look at that offseason and you hit getting a couple star players. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But
I
do
just
want to
think
bring
there's
up,
there's such a buzz around this team because of these additions.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting. Like, you took a team that, again, they were good. They were good last year. There's no denying it. But this team, there is a lot of talk, at least on paper, that they could be contenders to make the Super Bowl.
yeah, they stay healthy. On paper, they are a very, very talented team. And we weren't saying that the last couple of seasons because
We were saying that 3 months ago.
well, I'm saying yeah, you're right. Before free agency started and everything, but I do want to bring up the ultimate bus trip to FedEx Field. I want to bring it up. I know the date, September 25th, is on there. I know the deadline's coming up. I do think they are going to extend the deadline. So if you have not, sign up. The link is in the bio. Definitely something you want to go to. They have over 900 fans, and they're going for that 1,000 mark. And once they hit their mark, it's sold out, and you won't be able to get any tickets. You won't be able to join the festivities. Also, to announce, we will be there. The whole crew will be there. I will be there. Chip will be there. Mike will be there. Peanut will be there. Jeff will be there. So we're all going to be there. The All About the Birds crew is going to be there in force, full force. And we got a couple things that we're talking about doing that day in terms of, sharing everything with everyone, the festivities, the fun, everything like that. So stay tuned for that. But it's an absolute amazing thing that Philly Sports Trips are doing. You get the lower level ticket. You get the bus there and back. And ours is actually leaving from Allentown. So anyone local, Lehigh Valley area, Berks area, Northampton counties, anything along the lines of that, you don't have to drive down to Philly or South Jersey to get the bus. It's the Allentown area that we have. And the link in the bio will say all that. Also, catered food, great food menu they have, unlimited drinks, including beers. So, get your drink on. There's a lot of fun stuff with that. There going to be some giveaways. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff here with this trip. So definitely you don't want to miss it. You got a lot of people going along with it. So definitely something, if you want to get on, hit the link in the bio and get your ticket because they're not going to last very long. But
true.
One last thing to add to that, it looks like we will not be seeing the Nate Gary revenge game. He has been put on injured reserve, and barring an injury settlement, he will miss the entire season. So sorry.
How could he be hurt? What did he possibly do?
Also, I want to say, according to Nate Gary's Instagram bio, he lists Super Bowl 52 champion on there. So
he was a rookie that year.
He is also a massive piece of.
And with that, next week we are going to have the first edition of. We're going to talk about the Detroit Lions.
Are we?
Yeah, Detroit Lions. We're going to have a guest coming on for the Detroit Lions to break them down, kind of what the Eagles have Week 1 matchup in the Motor City. So that's going to be fun. We're going to start that series every Wednesday before the game. Going to talk about the opposing team. So to get a little intel on them, if you so be. But it's going to be a fun season. It kicks off. It kind of sucks that we have to wait until September 11th, but for all you Penn State fans, Penn State does play tomorrow night. So they play at Purdue. Hopefully, we get to see the freshman backup quarterback play. But
they're not even ranked this year.
Yeah, it's
a Thursday night start, by the way.
Yeah, Thursday night start at Purdue. But football is coming. Unfortunately, again, we have to wait until September 11th, but next weekend, we'll talk to the Detroit guy. It's going to be fun times. A lot of great shows on the network. Chips and Drip on Monday nights. We have of course, All About the Birds show. We have the Burning Bridges show. We are going to rekindle that. Oh, you like that? Going to get us to talk to Jeremy, get that started back up again. We also have the Birds, Beers, and BS, the YouTube exclusive with Jeff and Peanut. You don't want to miss that. I did forget. Party Doll Dave will be joining us too, I believe, on the bus. So that is another thing. I didn't want to leave him out. He might get a little depressed, so I don't want to do that.
I'm not going.
Yeah, so it got a lot of fun stuff across the pitch. The Union show, Union did clinch, I believe. I saw Mike post today, a few minutes ago. So a lot of cool things on the network. If you are interested, make sure to send us a message about writing for the site, about doing your own show, about anything. Definitely let us know. But we got a lot of cool things happening. The network itself and all about the birds. So definitely keep an eye out. A lot of fun stuff planned. A lot of cool things planned for the future. And, on this network, on this All About the Birds show, it's all birds all the time. And with that, I think there's only 2 words to say.
Eat shit.
Those 2 words are going to be when I find the thing to play. But
I got my hand on it. Just say the words.
What do you got your hand on?
The video.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Birds.